Hi class, this is course 3, lesson 84, selecting an appropriate rational number. Okay, this is one of those common sense, or you'll understand this a whole lot better with repeated exposure or experience. It's really hard to teach you which way to go here. It's just one of these things that you'll learn as you go. But to find the percent of a number, you know that you need to change either the decimal or the fraction form of the percent. However, one choice may be better than the other. For instance, if the decimal repeats, you need to change it to the fraction. You can't do much with a repeating decimal to have an exact answer, so use the fraction. If the number is easily divisible by 100, use the fraction, because percent is out of 100, so you can leave the unsimplified fraction and then divide out the 100. All of these things are just things that you'll learn in time. So here are two examples. How much is 40% of half of 1260? And this example is good for you to see because of means multiply, right? And so 40%, I can either choose 40 out of 100, I can choose 4 out of 10, I can choose 2 out of 5, or I can choose the decimal point 0.4. Likewise, half, I can choose 1/2 or 0.5. Now, knowing that I have to multiply whatever I get here times 12.6, since I'm already working with decimals, it might be easiest just to work with decimals. But there again, maybe it's not. Maybe it's easier to work with the fractions. I don't know. Let's try it with the decimals. So if I take and put 0.4 here, and of 1/2, let's say I change that to 0.5, and then I change this to 12.6. Okay, I dropped that last 0 because I don't need it, and that will just create some additional issues for me with counting decimal places, and it keeps my calculations concise. So now remember, you can multiply these in any order you would like. I like these two right here because 0.4 times 0.5 equals 20, and I would have 2 decimal places. So I would have 0.2, and then I'm just going to take 12.6 times 0.2, 2, carry the 1, 4, 5, 2. 2 decimal places, so I'd get 2.52, and remember that was money. So $2.52. You could have left the fraction 2/5 and multiplied it times 1/2. So 2/5 times 1/2 would be 2/10, which you know, that's what we had here. And then multiply that times 12.6, because this, I could divide that by 10 and get 1.26, and then just multiply that by 2, and you'd get 252. Now, that scenario happened to work out where you could use either way, but the fraction took a little bit of thought to make sure that it would work out okay. In our other example here, it's how much is 66 2/3% of 5/6 of 1260. Now, you know that this percent repeats as a decimal. It's 0.6 repeating, or the fraction is 2/3. So that's a no-brainer. We're going to use the 2/3. So we're going to have 2/3 times, now 5/6, you might not know if that repeats or not. So if you divide it out, you get 8. 48, you subtract, you get 20, so 3, 18, we get 20, so we're going to have that 3 repeating. So there again, we want to use 5/6, so we're going to leave fractions, and then we're going to have 12 0.6. Okay, so let's see if we can simplify first. This would be a 1 and that would be a 3. So I would end up with 5/9 times 12.6. Here I would recommend multiplying by 5 first. So 12.6 times 5, 0, carry the 3, 3, carry the 1, 6 with a decimal place. So I have 63, and now that's divided by 9. So I know my answer, again it was money, is $7. Okay. Here's an example. This is actually right out of your book. I don't want you to write it in your notebook. I just want you to listen or read through this very carefully. So the example says that in a public opinion survey, 180 of the 280 women surveyed agree or strongly agree with the mayor, while 150 of the 275 men surveyed agree or strongly agree with the mayor. Which choice listed below is the most appropriate way to describe the results of the survey? So they give you 3 options. One is where we've put calculated 180 out of 280 as a fraction, and you get 9 out of 14, or 150 out of 275 and you get 6 out of 11. So they report out 9/14 of the women and 6/11 of the men agree with the mayor. Or B, they've changed those rates into the decimals. So 0.643 of the women and 0.545 of the men agree with the mayor. Or C, 64% of the women and 55% of the men agree with the mayor. All of those accurately represent the data. However, there are times when you have to choose which is most appropriate. And so the explanation below says that when stating comparisons, it is appropriate to use forms of numbers that are easy to compare and are readily understood. Okay, so not everybody out in the world is as good at math as you are. And so if you have data and it's hard to understand, then people won't know what you're talking about. Choice A uses 2 fractions, but they have different denominators. And different denominators makes it difficult to compare because they're not representing equal shares of people. Choice B states the comparisons with decimals, which is okay. I can clearly see that more women and fewer men agreed with the mayor. However, it's less common way to use to express for a comparison. However, choice C, those percents, it expresses the comparison to the nearest percent, and those numbers are easy to compare and understand. People generally know or understand percents better than the decimals or the fractions. So no, more than likely that you will have a problem that's similar to this, and so you have to use some common sense and logic to answer the problem. That's it. Kind of short and sweet for lesson 84 today. I'll see you in class.